Guys, in this video I'm going to cover some GCSE Business AQA practice questions. So the first question is, which of the following describes the chain of command? Is it A, the allocation of a task to someone who would not normally be responsible for it? B, the line of authority within a business along which communication passes? C, the number of employees directly managed by another employee? Or D, the number of layers of authority in a business organizational structure? The answer is B. It's a chain of command, is a line of authority within a business along which communication passes. Which of the following is the formula for total cost? Is it A, fixed cost per unit plus variable cost per unit? B, total variable cost plus average unit cost? C, total variable cost plus fixed cost? Or D, variable cost per unit times by the number of units? The answer is C. Total cost is total variable cost plus fixed cost. State two financial methods of motivation. Now this question is a 2-mark question. So the possible answers are commission, salary or wage, piecework, profit sharing, bonus or overtime rate. Now if you write any of these two, you will get 2 marks. Explain one method a business may use to expand. This question is a 2-mark question. So the possible answers are, you could talk about internal expansion, so for example franchising, opening new stores, e-commerce, outsourcing, advertising, or external expansion, which could be horizontal integration, vertical integration, conglomerate integration, merger or takeover, and expanding overseas. Now remember that this question is worth 2 marks, so you'll get 1 mark for identifying the method of expansion and then the next mark for explaining the method of expansion. State and explain 2 employment laws. Now this question is a 4-marker. So the possible answers could be National Minimum Wage, the Equality Act, or the Health and Safety Act. Now remember that this is a 4-mark question, so you will get a mark for identifying the employment law and then another mark for explaining it, and that is for both the answers. For example, one type of employment law is the Equality Act. Now if you write that, you're going to get 1 mark, and then if you explain it, and it prevents discrimination in the workplace, for example, discrimination based on gender, that's your 2nd mark. Then you do that for both answers. Now, Jamil expects to produce and sell 40 toys per month at a price of £30 each. Each toy is going to cost £6.50 to make, and other businesses' cost will be £80 per month. Jamil plans to take some money from the business's profits. Calculate how much Jamil would take each month if he pays himself 80% of the profit. So the first step is we need to work out the total revenue. In order to do that, we're going to take how much they expect to produce and times by the price of that. So that's going to be 40 times £30, that's going to give us 1,200. Then to work out the total variable cost, we're going to take how much it costs to make 1 toy and then times about how many they want to make, which is £6.50 times 40, that's going to give us £260. Then we need to work out the total cost, which is going to be £260 plus the other business cost, which is £80 per month. So you do £260 plus £80, that's going to give you £340. Then in order to work out the profit, you need to do the total revenue minus the total cost. So that's going to be 1,200 minus £340. That's going to give you £860. Now remember the last step of the question, that he wants to pay himself 80% of the profit. We've now found out what the profit is. We need to find 80% of it. So you're going to do 860 times by 0.80. That gives you £688. So the answer is £688. Now, Jamil studied business at college and learned about writing business plans. So he has been employed as a carpenter for 5 years. And as a hobby, he's been making small number of modern, stylish wooden toys, and he sells them to his friends and family to cover the cost. Examples of toys that he produces is trains, farm buildings, and cars. His friends and family have been impressed with the quality of the toys that he's made. A local independent toy shop is interested in selling his toys as a trial. The business has asked Jamil to supply a range of different types of toys he thinks will be popular with the customers. It will accept up to 100 toys if they are delivered by October, ready for when it expects its peak demand as customers buy Christmas presents. Now, the toys are time consuming to make, so he needs to start production immediately. Jamil now plans to start his own business. Jamil is going to produce the toys with the equipment he currently has in his garage at home, and he is uncertain as to whether he needs to create a business plan before making a decision about accepting the order. As the designs are very unusual, the toy shop will only pay Jamil for toys that sell. In December, it will pay him for toys that have been sold and then return any unsold toys. Now, Jamil would have 3 months to make the 100 toys for the local toy shop. Now, recommend whether Jamil should create a business plan before making a decision about accepting the order. Give reasons for your recommendation. Now, this is a 9-mark question. So, a possible answer that you could write is that Jamil would benefit from a business plan as he can analyze the market, he can conduct research in order to see the demand for his toys as his products are unique, so he can find out what toys are more popular as he has only sold them to friends and family so far. That's going to allow him to know what products are right for the shop, which will allow him to manage his resources effectively. Now, although Jamil has no experience of running a business, he will be aware of the importance of business planning from when he learned business at college, and it can help him direct his business. An increase in interest rates would be which type of change? Is it A, economic, B, environmental, C, legal, or D, technical? The answer is A, economical. An increase in interest rates would be an economic type of change. Which section of the statement of financial position would include long-term loans? Is it A, current assets, B, current liabilities, C, non-current assets, or D, non-current liabilities? The answer is D. Long-term loans in a statement of financial position will show up as a non-current liability. Explain one reason why it's important for a business to identify the customer needs. Now, this question is a 2-mark question. So the possible answers you could say is to provide products or services that the customers will buy, to increase the sales, to select the correct marketing mix, or to be competitive. Now remember, this is a 2-mark question. So 1 mark for identifying the reason and the 2nd mark for explaining why it's important. Now, this is an extract. So since the data in table 1 was produced, the value of the inventories has decreased by 20%. The value of all other assets have stayed the same. So now calculate what the new total assets figure is. So in step 1, we need to first decrease the value of the inventories. So the initial inventories figure was 70,000. Now the question says that it has decreased by 20%. So we need to decrease it by 20%, and that's going to give us 14,000. So that's the new inventory figure. Then now we are going to calculate the new total assets figure. So the total assets figure originally was 544,000. We now need to minus that by 14,000 as the inventories decreased. So the new total assets figure would be 530,000. State and explain 2 categories of the Boston matrix. So the possible answers could be dog, cash cow, star, and question mark. Now remember that this is a 4-mark question, so you're going to get 1 mark for stating the category and then the other mark for explaining the category, and that is for both points. So for example, if you state the category is dog, you get 1 mark. But then if you explain it and say it is a product that has a low market share in a low growth market, that's your 2nd mark, and you do that for the 2nd category as well. Using table 2, you need to calculate the closing balance for May on the cash flow forecast. So first, state the formula for closing balance and then show your workings out. So the possible answer, if they're asking to state the formula. So closing balance is the inflows minus the outflows plus opening balance. So that is the net cash flow. So you're going to do inflows minus outflows, which is 3,300, minus the outflows, which is 1,450, and that's going to give you a net cash flow of 1,850. Then you work out the closing balance, which is 1,850, which is the net cash flow, plus the opening balance, which is minus 100. So that's going to give you 1,750 as your closing balance. Now, Ellie estimates that her weekly revenue from the gardening services is going to be 1,320. The cost of goods sold, for example, plants, will be £528, and any other expenses are £396. Calculate the gross profit margin for the gardening services. So the first step is to calculate the gross profit. Now, in order to calculate the gross profit, you need to do revenue minus cost of goods sold, which gives you the gross profit. So you're going to do 1,320, which is the revenue, minus the cost of goods sold, which is 528. That's going to give you £792. The second step is to calculate the gross profit margin. To calculate the gross profit margin, you need to do the gross profit divided by the revenue times by 100. So we calculate the gross profit, which is 792, divide that by the revenue, which is 1,320, and times it by 100, which gives us 60%. So the gross profit margin is 60%. Hopefully that video helped you understand some practice questions for this GCSE Business AQA exam. If you like this video, then give it a like and subscribe to my channel. If you want regular updates on videos and resources, then follow my Instagram. If you want short business revision clips, then follow my TikTok. And if you want business PowerPoints and resources, then head over to my test shop.